And there's another issue which I put out to our experts here that we deal with constantly at School Choice. We've got good lawyers. John Eastman's on our team when he's not busy taking slings and arrows, being on the Trump team. But anyway, we've got a lot of great lawyers, Democrat, Republican, left, right, in between. Great, great people. One of the great fears that school choicers have is that even if we get school choice, cultural imperialism will still be very active. And what do I mean by that? That even if the schools are separately funded, that is, the children funded, let the money follow the child, the state, the government, the imperialists will still attempt to deprive parents of the benefits of school choice by curriculum mandates, mandatory so-called sex ed under the guise of health and safety measures, work rules, that type of thing. I'll put this first to you, Corey, this time. What is there in the experience of other states or decisions that have come down that offer guidance, comfort, solace, or caution for school choice advocates?
Yeah, I will say the least regulated type of private school choice is the education savings account, where you just literally have the money follow the child to an education savings account to be used on tons of different providers. And I think it's because it's really hard for the regulator to keep track of all of the different providers of the service, because these education savings accounts can be used for tutoring, textbooks, curriculum, private school tuition and fees. Whereas with a voucher, that's much easier for the regulator to figure out. So if you just look historically, the ESAs are the least likely to be regulated. And even with voucher programs, there are some regulations, but I haven't seen curriculum regulations there. The worst that I've seen is they have, some type of state testing mandate. So you might have to do the state test, or you might have a nationally norm reference test that you can pick from. But and it is possible that even though those regulations don't exist right now, the ones that you're talking about, they could exist in the future. And my response to that is, well, that's what you have in the public schools already, and we might as well give families a shot of an alternative option. And the private schools and the individual families can weigh those costs and benefits. And if they see that, oh, this is too regulated for my family, they have the option to turn down that education funding if they would like. But what I've seen nationally is the worst that you get is some type of testing mandate or other type of regulation. But I'm mostly optimistic going forward, and more choice is always better than less choice.
Ms. Romero, do you have any comments? Do you share school choice advocates and homeschoolers' concern about mandated curricula or manipulation of the accreditation process to achieve those aims?
Absolutely. There should be the concerns overall. And I think what it just shows overall is, kind of like the power of, I'm going to call it the deep state in public education in California, the deep trenches, so that, one step forward, a couple of steps back. And I think as school choice advocates, we've got to always be very careful and cautious as we go forward, because we can win one thing and then right away there's going to be the barriers, the regulation, the new, whatever it is. Some of the curriculum we might agree upon, others we won't, perhaps. But that is sort of the to me, the power of education. Remember, this is the most potent political force in California. The power of the teachers union, the special interests, administrators, you name it. So they are not going to give up on the monopoly of public education without a fight. And even if we do pass and we are able to go forward in getting some type of voucher, ESA, whatever you might want to call it, opportunity scholarship going forward, the power of the state to still put in restrictions, ties, handcuffs, that's going to be another battle. But you know what? You take it one Groundhog Day at a time.
We quite agree. I want to thank everybody. We're talking about the Black community. We're talking about a community of 90% plus Democrats. and we know that there are going to be a lot of appeals, about defunding the schools and so forth. How are these arguments, and Ms. Romero articulated before, these objections, how are they received in the Black community? Or put another way, what is, in your experience, the attitude of Black parents and families about this issue of school choice?
So somebody asked a question about the blame and where does that stand? It ultimately stands with us, people in our communities, okay? We were presented with these welfare programs that we had never had before, and you really couldn't blame Black people. For 350 years, they had to work hard. And for somebody to come along and say, we're going to give you all this supposedly free stuff in order for you to, be more acceptable or, have more, peace in your life, whatever. But it was a trade-off. So you were able to do that and take the funding in the welfare program we never had before. In order to do that, guess why? The government now replaced the fathers in the home. So still, regardless of what's said, it still was down to us. We didn't have to take the money. Abortions have destroyed our communities, where 80% of abortion clinics are in the inner cities for a reason, okay? It was set up by Margaret Sanger, and she wanted, pretty much all Black babies exterminated, okay? We didn't have to have abortions, okay? A lot of society, to have some, but we didn't have to do that. Now down the road, where we've now lost over 20 million, probably 22 million Black babies that should have been here and flourishing and growing, still the blame is ultimately ours, because none of this stuff that we did have participated in, and our forefathers did not. My dad and his friends grew up in a time, if they found a nickel on the street, they would try to find out who it belonged to. You couldn't give them a penny. They worked hard. But this welfare system put us in that situation, or that mindset. They became totally dependent on the government, but that's what they wanted on purpose. But still, it's on us, because we never had to take the welfare program. We could have continued to build and work hard, because the 50s and before, we were entrepreneurs, we had land, we had farms, we had houses. We were doing better actually than people, when white people were doing whatever. And we let all that, and the government knew it, they let all that go in order to take these freebies that the government was giving us. So with the question, the thing is ultimately ours. Now in the Black community especially, we want our kids educated just like everybody else. And I tell people this, in Florida, when Governor DeSantis, how he got in office, 600,000 Black Democratic women voted. 100,000 of those Black Democratic women broke away from that Democratic Party to vote for Ron DeSantis because of school choice. We want the same thing everybody else wants, a quality of life, and for our kids to be educated. And this can happen everywhere. And Blacks see it more than anything, because I read the statistics. We are sick and tired of being sick and tired, and our kids being put in the background. So it's time for Black people now to stand up. If you want to do this, you can, but you got to be involved. And every Black person I talk to, the first word, Miss Ashley, where do I sign? So we're ready with the right program to go.
I can't top that. We stand with you in the shared desire for the opportunity of our children, because if everybody doesn't succeed in America, nobody does. It can't last. It won't, it is unsustainable. It has already become unsustained. That's why we're here. I want to thank everybody. We still have so many people hanging with us, even after 2 hours, including these two wonderful speakers, Ms. Romero and Corey DeAngelis. The others had to move. They had other things. We're so happy that all of you could spend time. Remember, we didn't come here to talk about school choice. We came here to do something about it. That something is organization, and that something is leadership, and it begins with you and with me if we're going to stand together. And we will give you the tools that you need to learn all about school choice, get organized in your neighborhood, your church congregation, or community. Go get your friends to do it. Click on that. Give us a little love. Help us with our expenses here. Nobody gets paid in this organization right now, a few dollars here and there. But whatever you send to us, we will turn right around into positive outreach. So on that note, I want to thank my co-host here and the MC, Stephen Smith, all of the wonderful tech people that work with us here, Diane, Allison, Mr. Coe, Andrew Coe, and the three county chairmen, Dr. Broom, Carolyn Abate, and of course, Larry Show. Thank you so much. That'll conclude our presentation. Send me an email if you got any suggestions or whatever, profane or otherwise. We have an open forum here. Love to see all of you. Thank you so much. That'll do it for today.
Thank you, Mike.